So, all right. Hey, everybody. It is Thursday. It's August 18th. My name is Dee, and I'm so excited for our client connection call tonight. We are talking about the topic of transition and maintenance. And I have been coaching for about 5 years, and I will say this is probably one of the topics that gets the most discussion with my clients. I find that over the years, a couple of things happen. Sometimes people get fearful. They get very, very comfortable in the 5-in-1 program, and they're very fearful about going off and trying to manage their maintenance without the meal replacements. Sometimes I find that that people they kind of get a mindset like, oh, I'll be fine, great, when I reach my goal weight I can eat again, and I don't really understand the structure and the diligence that might be required during the maintenance. So we thought we'd dedicate some time to this, and I'm amazed we've got about 25 people on the call already. I'm going to turn it right over to Susan Giesland. She's going to be Susan is an executive director. She is helping a lot of people get healthy, and she's so committed. She lives in Atlanta, but she's going to speak to us from Florida. She's in the process of taking her daughter to school, and so she's going to speak for a while, and then when she finishes, we have 3 of our clients who are managing maintenance really well. They're going to contribute some ideas, and if there's time, we'll open it up for questions. So Susan, I will unmute you, and you go right ahead.
All right. Greetings from Florida. It was nice to finally make it here. It's a long trip. But I'm very excited about this topic because this is, to me, what the essence of our program is. This is the goal that you're trying to achieve at the very beginning, and that's transition and maintenance. Of course, it's not where we stop. It's only really phase 2 of our program. But I'm so glad that you're here tonight. And I want to share with you just some things that come right out of Dr. A's Habits of Health. And also, if you have your Quick Start Guide, it is on page 14, 15, and beyond, the transition. Actually, 12 and beyond. So the very first thing I want you to think about when you are getting close to transitioning and prior to transitioning, I want you to make sure that you make a plan with your health coach. All right? Set a goal weight and an activity level that you're comfortable with that coach. Because that takes a little bit of planning, like anything else, and to be successful in the program, it takes some planning. So you want to make sure that you have enough meal replacements, because you're going to need meal replacements for a transition. It's about a 4 to 6 week process. And then the chapters in the book for the Habits of Health, 9 through 12, read those. Those are packed full of everything you need to be successful in your transition and your maintenance. It has Dr. A's glycemic index charts of everything. It shows the 9-inch plate, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. So let's say you've reached your goal weight. Stay on 5-in-1 for another week. All right. Once you're ready, just realize that these changes that you're going to be making in your daily meals, they're going to be small, but they're going to be important. And so you may feel some hunger as you slowly exit that fat burning state. We've gotten very comfortable in the 5-in-1. We know how the 5-in-1 works. We know how good we feel. And so a lot of times with transition, it can be a little bit scary. But remember when you started 5-in-1, it was scary. You didn't know what you were doing. You weren't sure how you would feel. You weren't sure if it was going to work. So it's the same with transition and maintenance. It works, but I can't stress enough how important it is to really follow what's in your Quick Start Guide. Listen to your coach, because this is where it's important to stick to that program and be successful so that you can maintain that weight loss you worked really hard to achieve. So you may be a little bit hungry. Don't worry about it, because what we're doing with transition is it's bringing your metabolism slowly back up as you add more calories into your plan. So it's very important to calculate what your daily caloric need will be, and your coach can help you with that. We have a couple of tools. We have the old formula that's in the book. So if you love to do math, it's a great way to do it. But you can also get a link on your coach's website where you can put in your weight, your age, your activity level, and it will calculate for you what your daily caloric needs will be. So that's really good measuring stick to have. So just the basics of transition itself, like it is on page 12 of the Quick Start Guide. I'm going to read from my notes so I don't miss anything. But realize that as you start to add these more foods back in, you may gain a couple of pounds. It's going to be a little extra water weight. It might be some sodium as you add these foods back in. So don't, be prepared for that. Don't freak out about that. But you get to eat all the veggies. So no veggies are off limits anymore. you get to start incorporating fruit, dairy, starches, and grains back into your diet. So that's kind of exciting. I mean, that's what we've been working towards. So there's the specific days, and I'm not going to go through it because it's in the Quick Start Guide. I'm not on my computer, so I don't have anything to show you, but I will show you. It's on your Quick Start Guide. So it's all spelled out. Your coach can walk through it with you. So I'm not going to go into those details because it makes pretty much sense. But a couple things I want you to remember is when you start to add grains and fruits back into your diet, it's really important to maintain that protein carb blend. Like our meal replacements. If you take a look at the packaging on the meal replacements, you have a really good blend of protein and carbs. Well, that's what we want you to do is you start to add more carbs back into your daily meals. If you have a piece of fruit, pair it with a protein. If you have some kind of a grain, pair it with a protein, because it slows the absorption of that carbohydrate in your system, and it keeps your glycemic levels pretty stable. So that's a good thing to remember. So you've gone through the 4 to 6 weeks of transition. You've added in some foods. You've taken away the meal replacements, but it's really important to maintain that eating 5 to 6 times a day. Those small, low fat, low glycemic meals, because that is a habit of health that we need to continue forever. That's going to keep our blood sugar stable. It's going to keep our insulin levels stable. It's going to keep fat storage at a minimum. So you got to kind of keep feeding your body those fuelings just like you were doing on the 5 and 1. When you get to maintenance, you've gone through transition, you've added the foods back in, you've taken some of the meal replacements out, you're still eating 6 meals a day. You've already learned everything you need to know on maintenance. You learned it in the 5 and 1. The B Slim all by itself. You know that B Slim is an acronym, I believe, for eating breakfast, exercise, small low-fat meals 5 to 6 times a day, support, individual plan, monitoring. That's what that all means. So you've learned those tools already for when you get into maintenance. So what you want to do when you're making those fuelings, you want to make sure that they're balanced. You have your 3 meals a day, you have your 3 snacks a day, but you want them to be balanced. So they need to have the low-fat, lean protein, like meat, poultry, fish, beans, nuts, dairy. You have the low glycemic carbs. That's on chapter 9 of Dr. A's Habits of Health. You have the fiber pack, the low calorie. So also look at pages 120 and 121 in the Habits of Health. Dr. A lists fuelings that are about 100, 110 calories, but it's a great pairing of that protein carb blend. So that is just an amazing tool that we have right there in our hands all the time. And I recommend keeping that Habits of Health book where you can see it every single day. You can refer to it as a resource, especially once you get to transition and maintenance. So if you look at page or in chapter 9, he has that whole picture, and I wish I had my slides, but I'm sorry, I'm out of town. He has the whole picture of the 9-inch plate. And that's a really great visual that we have where 50% of that is vegetables and fruits. All right. Remember the lower glycemic ones. You have 25% as your protein, 25% as your starches. What a great way to just be able to visualize that. So you've got your caloric needs that you know based upon your lifestyle, your age, and all of that. And then you've got the 9-inch plate. You've got everything that you need right in there. And also you have your coach. Your coach is with you. Just because you hit your goal weight, that doesn't mean your coach leaves. So anyway, continue, like I said, eating those 6 small meals a day. That's going to keep your metabolism burning at a steady pace. If you skip a meal, if you go back to eating those 3 square meals a day, you know what's going to happen to your body? You're going to go right back into fat storage mode. And I don't know about you, I don't want that. We worked really hard to learn what we need to learn to do that. So, reference his glycemic index charts in the book. I can't stress that enough because those were key for me in learning those different things. So there's some other things too that I've learned in doing a little more research for our call tonight. Dr. A has some tips for lowering the glycemic index and the absorption of glycemic food. So say you have something that has a little higher glycemic. So it's very interesting. Some of this I didn't know, so it was really kind of fun. He says, use vinegar and lemon juice or eat sourdough bread rather than that higher glycemic bread. It slows the starch digestion and the rate at which your stomach empties, which is kind of cool. Undercook your pasta and your oatmeal like al dente. It slows the digestion. It prevents the starch from gelatinizing, which to me, I don't know what that means, but that doesn't sound very good. And then, of course, we've often heard this, use stone ground rather than finely milled flour. So your brown rice, your larger size particles, your less refined flours, they have a less glycemic index, less content to it. And if you do eat, this was what very helpful, if you do eat a higher glycemic food, say watermelon, that's kind of a higher glycemic food, but it's still a fruit, you know, pair it with lower glycemic foods, add protein, that's going to lower that overall effect on your blood sugar. So there are so many ways that you can stay within the glycemic index, stay within keeping your blood sugar levels stable based upon that. So one thing that's really important is stay in touch with your coach at least once a month. Once you get to maintenance, okay, you've hit your goal weight, you're maintaining it, but stay in touch with your coach because they're there to help you and guide you. But here's a better idea. Become a health coach, because it is shown health coaches are 5 times more likely to maintain their weight. Think about it. If you're coaching somebody else to get to their goal weight or whatever their goals can be, it could be weight loss, it could be healthy mind, healthy finances, whatever what our trilogy provides for people, that's going to just reinforce those habits of health in you. So you're constantly feeding your body and your mind with those great habits of health, and it's keeping that going within you. So think about that. You know, talk to your health coach about that. It really does work. I can speak for that myself. But another thing to keep in mind, if you treat this whole program as a diet, then you will gain your weight back. It's really what it is, because we all know diets don't work. Our program works because it is a lifestyle program. We're making decisions and changes to the way that we live our life that we just continue for the rest of our lives. So think about that. So reaching your goal weight is really the first step in our program. You know, what do you want to do after that? What do you want to achieve after that? You know, it doesn't stop there. We continue to grow. We continue to get healthier. What do you want to do? And everybody's different. You know, some people want to run a marathon, climb mountains, or whatever. So think about that. And I would always suggest as well is keeping, like I said earlier, Dr. A's Habits of Health book. I give it as gifts. I really do, because it is such a handy reference guide to everything that you need for transition, for maintenance, for going beyond where you're at, for healthy stress or dealing with stress, healthy sleep, healthy habits of motion. It's got everything you need right in there. So I really, really strongly suggest keeping that handy. And if you haven't gotten into the book yet, don't let it overwhelm you. Take it one little bit at a time. Work with your health coach. Set up a structure of learning the habits of health with your health coach, so you have small bite-sized pieces of it. And then one more thing I want to talk about, because I get asked this question all the time. Can I drink alcohol? Can I have a glass of wine? When can I have a glass of wine? So, and you may know this and you may not, but, drinking alcohol on the 5-in-1 is not highly recommended, because our bodies, you get into that fat burning state. First of all, you've spent 3 or 4 days working really hard to get in that fat burning state. If you have a glass of wine or you have some alcohol, your body just naturally metabolizes alcohol first as pure carbs. So it will knock you out of the fat burning. It will not metabolize the fat first, which is really what we want. So think about that when you're in the 5-in-1. But once you get to the transition and maintenance, a couple things about alcohol just to think about. Like I said, it burns alcohol before it burns protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So it slows your fat burning. Also, pure alcohol has 7 calories per gram. Okay, these can add up really, really quickly if you consume multiple alcoholic beverages, or if you have something like those high caloric pina coladas or things like that. Beer and wine contain carbs and calories outside of our 5-in-1, and they're burned first prior to fat as a fuel source. Like I said, flavored liquors have more calories than unflavored. So think about that when you're having frozen or creamy drinks. They're packed with calories, and it's mostly sugar. If you wanted to have an alcoholic beverage, they recommend using diet soda, club soda, sugar-free drink mixes, and then mix diet soda with a distilled liquor such as rum or Diet Coke or gin and diatonic. Or, of course, if you see in his book, he does recommend red wine, which is a personal favorite of mine. So anyway, if you're going to have that, then adjust your meal choices accordingly. So, if you're going to have a higher carbohydrate beverage like a light beer or wine, then choose lower carb protein or lower carb meals such as lower carb veggies, leaner protein, eliminate like condiments and snacks and stuff like that. And then make sure you drink a ton of water if you're going to have alcohol. That was one of the things that I get that question a lot from a lot of clients. And a glass of red wine on occasion is not unhealthy. A glass of red wine 3 or 4 times a night is not healthy. So think about that in your choices. But, one of the things about transition, and we get very comfortable in 5-in-1, and we don't want our clients to stay in what I've heard as 5-in-1 jail. Our whole idea is to use those meal replacements as tools. They're learning tools on eating 6 times a day, on portion control, on sizes of their snacks and the calorie content of them. They're learning tools. But like if you were to build a deck on your house, you would use, wood, hammer, and nails. Once you were done with the deck, though, you don't need those items anymore. So it's very much like that. Once you get to your healthy weight and you're getting into transition, work with your health coach, become a health coach, because that is so key to really maintaining it, is teaching others what you've already learned. Plus you're paying it forward. You're helping others achieve what you've achieved. So don't be afraid of transition. Really, truly embrace it. You've worked hard to get to it. But really incorporate the habits of health, what he has in his book. Work with your health coach, and you will definitely be successful. But don't be afraid to step up, ask questions, and reconnect with your coach as you go along, because you've got the tools, everything you need for transition and maintenance. So I hope this helps a little bit to kind of take the fear out of when you get there, what's going to happen, because you're not alone. You've got a health coach to walk you through it. You've got a community of support to take you there as well. So that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, so good, Susan. What I heard, and thank you for taking the time to prepare all that. And did you even hear what she said? Like, oh, I learned this, and it kind of gives that philosophy of who learns more, the teacher or the student. And so whenever we do talk about coaching, that's why when we're helping somebody, we just learn for ourselves. But the couple of things I heard, we can give you the formula, we can give you the blueprint, but like she said, the real key factors are the education that's available to us. So we don't want to miss that key component, and working with your coach and the support system. So I want to go right into our client stories. We've got some really good stuff. Julie, is Michelle available? Is she on? I just need to know how to unmute her. Well, I couldn't hear you.
It's 704-975. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's the last 4 digits?
Let's see. She is 2066.
Or is it 7066?
It should be 704-975-2066.
Okay, gotcha. Michelle?
Michelle, can you hear us?
Michelle, if you can unmute your phone. All right, we'll come back. All right, before we go in, we'll come back to her, and Julie, maybe you can connect with her.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there she is. All right,
Hello?
Michelle. And Julie, I'll let you.
Yeah, it's just muting me.
Okay, so one of my clients, Michelle, who lives here in Charlotte, we've been talking, and she's done amazing and transitioned perfectly through the program. I tell her she just walked right through transition and is now maintaining all summer. So Michelle, will you just share a couple of the things that we talked about the other day about how transition has worked so well and maintaining how your mindset's changed?
Yes. When I was to start transition, I was scared. I thought this isn't going to work. But my taste buds have changed since I've done it. I no longer, I have cookies in my freezer before I started this, because I thought, oh, I'm going to have some cookies when it's over. But I don't really want the cookies. When it's time for a snack, I want something else. Like I'll grab some cucumber or something. So that has changed. When my husband says, let's go to dinner, where do you want to go? And I said, I really want a large salad. And he'll just go, oh yeah, okay. And we'll go someplace where there's a large salad. So I don't want the things that I used to eat.
Yep, exactly. What made transition so simple for you and now maintaining? What would you say?
I guess it was just add a little bit at a time, and it wasn't like I had to doing 1 week of just one thing, and then the next week of something else made it a lot easier than me all of a sudden having to jump in and say, oh, now I've got to add some fruit and this and that, and I didn't have to. It was just one little thing at a time, which made it easier. Yep. And I was worried I'd gain weight back, and I've continued to lose weight on maintenance.
Yeah, how much? We've dropped another, 5 or 6 more pounds since she started transition, right?
Let's see. When I started transition, I was at the 140, and I'm at 128.
She's done incredible. So it's possible, guys. Transitioning and maintenance is awesome. Just follow the program.
Yeah, that's good. And I heard, she makes different choices. She makes different choices now, so that's great. So, yeah, thank you, Michelle. I know it was a little dicey whether or not you could be on the call, so thanks for making time for us. And I'm going to show you guys a quick picture. I've got 2 people coming up next, Jamie Dugan and Susan Smeltzer, and I was able to get their before and after picture. So I just want to show you guys real quick so you can see and kind of get a glimpse of their world. And give me 1 second to share my screen. All right. And so here they are. First on the left, this is Jamie. Jamie lost his weight in 2013. And we just have to show because he had a new baby 2 months ago. So even with that baby in front of him, you can tell how much smaller he is. And on the left, you'll see Susan Smeltzer, and she's going to speak with us as well. And Susan has had quite a dramatic change and has kept her weight off for over 5 years, her and her husband. So I'm going to click off that so I can get back to you guys. And I'm going to open it up for Jamie to share a little bit of your story with us. How much weight did you lose, and what's life look like for you since 2013?
I lost about 60 pounds, and let's see, that was, I think I had the most energy I ever remember having during the program and immediately afterwards. Let's see, since then, my meals kind of look like probably 4 to 5 meals a day where it's a large breakfast. I'll usually skip the mid-morning snack, not intentionally, but just out of being out of the routine so long. And then lunch and an afternoon snack, which is usually something like oatmeal, and then like a lighter dinner. And I think probably the 2 biggest contributing factors to my success since 2013 has been my wife. She is a humongous advocate, just always cooking healthy for us, and then also just staying active, I think has been really, really helpful. So, it still get people in the office that will ask you like, hey, you want to go to lunch today, instead of instead of eating the lunch I brought, which, we'll go out with them, but still trying to make a pretty good decision there. So that's about what it's been like for me.
Yeah, I like it. And you told me the other day when we talked that one of the biggest changes, was number one, how much more active you are. But you said even when they ask you to go out and you guys go out to lunch, you usually try to find a place that's within walking distance, right? Like you try to go, like you're just incorporating a lot more movement, a lot more activity. And it sounded like, even though you're not exactly eating, 6 balanced meals, from what you told me, it was a lot more lean and green and smaller portions.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think a big part of that is being conscious of it. And my wife, she is so good at, we kind of work off each other to kind of stay lean and green. And then, like, I don't know, for the last 2 years, my breakfast has been eggs and avocado, and I love it, like, crave it. And yeah, I annoy people at work by asking them to walk to lunch. They always want to drive, so that's kind of fun.
Well, maybe you'll have you're having a positive effect on them. So that's fantastic. And so thank you. And, we always equip our clients that they're completely prepared to maintain their maintenance all with grocery store foods. Or some choose to still use some of our products just for convenience and whatnot. But do you utilize any of our products in your maintenance?
Not currently. I know for about 6 months after the fact, the bars, that was basically my morning and afternoon snacks. And I think it was just I ran out and got out of touch with my coach. Otherwise, I'd probably still be eating them now.
We can help you with that. No, but it was funny because Jamie was a client under a coach that works with my husband. Jamie works with my husband, and Larry always raves about Jamie, how well he's doing. But I looked at your account; you had not ordered like since 2013, and so it's just a great representation that you can just really successfully maintain on all grocery store foods. So last but not least, and I'm gonna give Susan. We're gonna come up on 9 o'clock, but I'm gonna give Susan time, and I'm gonna let you guys stay on as much as you want, so you can ask Susan questions. But Susan Smeltzer, tell us your story and how you do this.
I'm gonna just sum it up real quick. I'm unlike I was listening to you guys and I'm like, man, I still eat the food. I'm very busy. I had a bookstore and I've had it for almost 11 years. So about halfway through, we found the program and we lost the weight so quickly. But I've always been a busy person, and I found the best thing for me was in the beginning. About 3 months into it, I became a coach because everybody was asking, and at that point, it was just like, gee, how do I kept referring people, and I'm like, but wait, someone's making money. I'm kind of a bargain hunter, so I found out there was a way to actually get paid to do it, and I would have done it for free anyway. But I'm like, sure, they'll pay me. I'll do it. So I got 5 clients to basically pay for my food, and then my husband Stephen was doing it as well. So then we had 5 more clients to pay for his, and I have to say the support that came from me helping other people was just really wonderful. It was like there was a whole team of us doing the same thing because I was still in the weight loss phase. And what happened was it just kind of grew and grew and grew enough to where I actually even sold my store to do coach full time, because I felt every time I told someone else how this program worked, it would bounce back to me. So I kind of have been on a mission to help as many people as possible. But unfortunately, the person I sold the store to forgot to pay for it, so I had to take it back over 9 months later. And so in 2012, I basically had a 9-month vacation and went back to my busy schedule of working at the bookstore and still coaching clients. And because of that, I actually use the product still a lot. I don't do necessarily a 5-in-1, but I have food at my store, I have food at my house, I have food in my car, and I'm always on the go. So for me, I just find I still eat 6 times a day. I literally walk the walk and talk the talk, but I make sure that I'm eating 6 times a day. My stomach tells me every 3 hours to eat something. So I just listen to it and whatever's handy. Now I do eat, regular food as well, but I choose to eat the Medifast mostly because I just don't have time to stop and pick something. So I know all the right pairings. I can go days without having any of our own product, but like I said, I just keep it simple. And one of the things that you had asked me before about, walking the walk, about a year after we had lost the weight, we really didn't exercise while we were losing. Looking back, it was would have been a good idea, but I started to have to go down to Florida and take care of my parents. Their health was poor, and caretaking is very stressful. So I just started just getting out of the house, for a few minutes a day, which turned into about 30 minutes. And I just started walking every day. And that was about 4 years ago. And I've been walking pretty much every day since then. And I average walking probably about 3 miles a day, sometimes more, sometimes less, but I try to get in my 10,000 steps. And again, I find that, for me, that's what works. And I encourage everybody to just, get that healthy movement in. And for us, we've had the weight off. As you said, we started June 2010, lost our weight in 9 months, and have kept it off. And we have just been going and flowing ever since. And I also tell everybody, not just about the program, but what I do. And I think that, like I said, helping other people has been the biggest help for myself. It's such supporting others. And,
so remind me, so how much did you lose, Susan?
130, and Stephen lost 150.
And both of you did that in about 9 months' time.
Yeah.
That's incredible. And so now it's 6 years, over 6 years, almost 7, you've kept it off, it sounds like.
We just had our 6-year loss anniversary. So basically in June 2010, this past June, made it 5 years we've had the weight, or that we started the plan.
Yeah.
So next April will be 6 years that we've had the weight off completely.
Well, congratulations. Well, tell us about, I have 2 quick questions. So tell us about you do an accountability thing on Facebook every night. What do you,
I try every night. I take pictures every day. We make our food. Our lean and greens tend to be very easy because, again, of our schedules, but we try to make them fun, really healthy, and we like to play with our plates. Stephen used to be a chef, so he's a great cook. I've become a very good cook, and I show every night basically where I walked, and what we had for dinner, sometimes the recipe included, something about our daily day, and a little, tidbit of either fun or inspiration, hopefully. And I post that every day, and that's kind of just become my mantra because I have a lot of people that follow us. Just that a lot of it is, I'll show you, I'm not going to put that weight back on, and that's really why I do it. But what it's done is inspired a lot of other people. So it's worked really great for, anybody that I can inspire, but it helps me more than anybody.
Yeah, I love that. She always has a picture of her meal, which always looks really good. And she always has, there's that app where you can map my walk, so you'll see it. And a lot of times she'll point out, that they were out there in the dark at 10 o'clock at night. But I love, because the message that you show is that your health is important to you and that it can be done, which is awesome. Yeah. So give us 30 seconds about your People Magazine interview. And Susan and her husband Stephen were recognized in People Magazine. They're half their size issues. So tell us a minute about that.
It was a total surprise, and honestly, I can tell you I have no idea who suggested we put in just basically ask for your name, what you lost, and how you lost it. And it was months, or it could have been a year later. Someone contacted me for some more pictures, which I dropped the ball and I didn't even do that. And they still picked us, so I was really pleased. And they came out to our house and did like a 6-hour photo shoot, and it was just really fun to have all these people in our house, and they brought clothes and everything. And we were really pleased to get in the magazine and have another one of our fellow coaches as well in there. So Take Shape for Life really ruled in that issue, and it was just a lot of fun. And I would really recommend it to anybody. So now it's kind of also gives such a strong message to America, that we have the goods, and to spread the word. So we kind of have a little national recognition. As I always say, it's my 15 minutes of fame. Everybody gets it somewhere, and I guess that was ours.
Yeah, that's awesome though. So congratulations. It's just such a great testimony to what's possible. Thanks to everybody who shared. We have a few, we have time. I know you guys probably have questions, and if you want to stay on and ask anybody, any of us a question, we would love to give you your answers. And I'm going to ask you actually to unmute yourself if you have a question, because it's hard for me to see everybody who's on. All right, everybody got all quiet and shy. Okay. Well, listen, Susan, thank you so much for everything that you contributed. And thanks to everybody who, you guys could have been doing a million things on a Thursday night, but this just shows how important your health is to you and that you really want to prepare for your next step of your journey. So thanks for being with us. We'll have another call in 2 weeks, always the first and the third Thursday of every month, our client connection call. So thank you to our guest, and you guys have a great rest of the night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Yeah.